You just got introduced to someone 10 seconds ago, and you already have no idea what their name is. Gone. Completely erased. You're standing there nodding, smiling, saying, "Nice to meet you too," like a hostage reading a script, praying nobody asks you to introduce this person to someone else before you have to say their name first. You're not rude. You're not careless. And there is something genuinely strange happening in your brain right now. Something almost nobody ever explains to you, and once you hear it, you'll never blame yourself for this again. Here's the answer, up front. Your brain isn't losing the name. It's refusing to store it in the first place. Not because you weren't listening, because of what a name actually is. You probably think this is about attention. You were nervous. You were thinking about your handshake. You were half composing your own next sentence instead of listening, so of course it didn't stick. That's the story you've told yourself for years. At every party, every first day of a new job, every wedding where you meet 12 people in a row. But that's not really it. Even people who are locked in, fully present, staring right at the person's face, still lose the name. Something stranger is going on, and it has almost nothing to do with how much you cared. To understand it, you have to go back to 1987, to a strange little experiment run by four researchers named McWeeny, Young, Hay, and Ellis. They showed people a set of faces. Half the faces came with a job. This man is a baker. The other half came with a surname that happened to be spelled exactly the same word. This man is called Mr. Baker. Same 5 letters, same sound, same face. A little while later, they tested what people remembered. The people who'd been told Baker, the job, remembered it easily. The word pulled up ovens, flour, the smell of bread, a whole shelf of connected ideas, and any single one of those hooks could drag the word back into memory on its own. The people who'd been told Baker, the name, mostly drew a blank. Same word, same face, forgotten. Some of them could describe the face in detail, the shape of the jaw, the color of the eyes, and still not produce that one 5-letter word they'd heard only minutes earlier. That's called the Baker-Baker paradox, and it's the whole mystery sitting right there in one clean result. A job connects to 100 other things already living in your head. A name connects to nothing. It isn't a word with meaning attached to it, it's a label, stuck on with nothing underneath. No hooks, no shelf, just a sealed box with one entrance and no windows in. So here's the part nobody tells you. This isn't a personal failure. It's built into what a name is, and it happens to everyone the same way. And it turns out that sealed box is even stranger than one experiment suggests. For a long time, scientists assumed names were just words like any other, maybe harder to hold on to, but filed the same basic way. Then they studied people who'd suffered certain kinds of brain injury, and something odd kept showing up. Some patients could describe exactly what a baker does, could hold a full conversation, could correctly name almost every object you put in front of them, and still stand there completely unable to produce a person's name, even a name they'd known their entire life. In a 2017 review of the research, the scientist Serge Bredar laid out the evidence plainly. Naming a person draws on a specific, partly separate stretch of the brain from naming everything else in the world. Your brain doesn't file Sarah the way it files sandwich. It built an entirely different filing system just for people's names, and for reasons nobody fully understands yet, that system is the most fragile one you own. Here's where it gets more interesting, because that fragility doesn't stay put. It gets worse in one very specific, very predictable way. Researchers named Cohen and Burke tracked this in 1993, and they found that as people get older, names are the very first thing to slip. Before faces, before facts, before almost anything else you'd normally call a memory. Not because the whole brain is failing, because names were always the weakest joint in the system. In time, when it comes looking for something to take, finds the weakest joint first. So picture the 80-year-old who can recite the plot of a book she read in 1961, scene by scene, who can tell you exactly what the weather was like on her wedding day 60 years ago, and still blanks on her new neighbor's name for the 10th week in a row. That isn't decline sneaking in through the front door. That's the exact same paradox you felt at that party last month, just running on a much longer clock, wearing down the one joint that was always going to go first. Think about the last time it actually happened to you. Not the general feeling of it, the specific moment. Where were you standing? What did their face do when they clearly noticed you didn't remember? Now watch how this same locked box quietly rewires your whole social life, one small habit at a time. It starts small. The first time you blank on someone's name mid-conversation, you panic for half a second, then you reach for a save. Hey, my friend. Hey, you. A hand on the shoulder instead of a name. That's the origin. Then it becomes a pattern. Every reunion, every office hallway, every, wait, we've met before, right? Moment, you've got the save loaded before the panic even fully lands, because you've done this enough times to know exactly how it goes. What started as one embarrassing blank at a party is now a whole private survival kit you carry everywhere. And you built every piece of it without ever being told why you needed it. And it doesn't stop at avoidance. Watch what happens the moment you actually do remember. Someone says their name once, 12 minutes ago, and you use it flawlessly in front of a room. That's not luck, and it's not proof you were paying better attention. It means that one time, the name accidentally got a hook. Maybe it rhymed with something. Maybe you pictured it. Maybe you just happened to say it back out loud in the first 5 seconds and gave it a second entrance into memory it wouldn't otherwise have had. The good version and the bad version of this exact moment are running on the same machinery. You just don't usually get to choose which one fires. And here's the part that will feel a little too familiar. Your phone already knows about this problem, even if you've never named it. Open your contacts right now and you'll probably find at least one entry that isn't a name at all. Gym guy, blue jacket girl from the conference, Dana's husband. That started the exact same way the shoulder tap and the hey my friend started. One specific night, you panicked and needed a workaround fast. Now it's a whole quiet system you built without ever deciding to. A permanent archive of every locked box you never managed to open, sitting right there in your pocket, saved under everything except the one word you actually needed. Here's the quiet truth underneath all of it. You were never actually bad at remembering people. You're bad at remembering one specific, oddly shaped category of information, arbitrary labels with zero built-in meaning, and everyone is bad at it to some degree because of how the box is built, not because of how much attention you paid. Even people with genuinely exceptional memories for faces, for stories, for entire conversations word for word, hit this exact same wall on names. It isn't a flaw in you. It's a flaw in the object you're being asked to hold on to. So if trying harder never fixed it, and you've tried, at every party you've ever stood at gripping a drink and praying, here's what actually works. Because it isn't about trying harder at all. It's about giving the box what it's missing. Say the name back immediately, inside a real sentence. Good to meet you, Marcus. Because speaking it out loud recruits a second kind of memory, motor and auditory, not just visual, and that's a second entrance into a box that only ever had one. Then, in the first few seconds, while it's still fresh, tie the name to one specific, slightly absurd image connected to something about them right now. Marcus with the loud laugh. Marcus who just got back from Peru. You're not memorizing a label anymore at that point. You're doing to Marcus exactly what already happens automatically to Baker, giving it a shelf, a hook, a reason to connect to something else already living in your head. There's a third piece, and it's the one almost everyone skips because it feels rude. Use the name again, on purpose, before the conversation ends. Not 3 times in a row like a salesman, just once, naturally, folded into a real sentence. So, Marcus, how long have you worked here? That second use isn't for politeness. It's a second attempt at storage, a chance for the box to catch a hook it missed the first time. Most people hear a name once and never touch it again until they need it, which is exactly backwards. The box was never going to hold something it only felt once. The paradox isn't out to get you. You just have to build, on purpose, the one bridge it was never going to build for you. So the next time you're standing there, nodding, smiling, mind a total blank where a name should be, you'll know exactly what's happening. It's not you being careless. It's not you not caring enough. It's a sealed box with no windows in, the same box that fooled researchers studying faces back in 1987. The same box that outlasts almost every other memory you'll ever lose, still standing long after the rest of your memory starts to fade. You weren't ignoring them. You were just standing in front of the one door your own mind was never built to pick on the first try. If this explains something you've been quietly embarrassed about for years, do me a favor and subscribe. There are people out there right now who need this explained to them too. And if a name blanking out mid-handshake feels familiar, wait until you hear what your memory does the exact second you walk through a doorway. That video's right here.